Hi, I'm Chef Mike, and today we're making our Uncle Ram's stuffing recipe. I have my two sous chefs with me, Karen and Penelope. Say hi.
Hi.
And these are the ingredients we're going to need. 2 loaves of white bread, which we'll eventually toast. 2 pounds of breakfast pork sausage, mild. 1 stick of butter. Poultry seasoning. Chicken stock, about 40 ounces. 3 cups of chopped onions, 4 cups of chopped celery, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. That's all we need. So let's get started.
Okay, well, we've toasted the bread, and here you go, Penelope. And then, like you see here, we're breaking it up. Can you break the bread up for me? Can you break the bread up? Like this? You can eat that if you want. Okay, you can eat that. Sometimes you can eat the bread too. My assistant likes to eat toast. I like to break it up in small pieces. We like to use bread instead of that crouton stuffing mix because it gives it a better consistency. And we like to toast our bread sometimes in the toaster, but to do fast, you can toast it in your oven under the broil setting, which we do a lot. Okay, once we finish doing this, then we have the chicken broth, which Mike, would you like to get? And I like to use my hands and make a well. Sometimes we add the chicken broth as we're putting the bread and stuffing together. So we want to soak the bread really good. We're going to need about 3 or 4 of those probably. And we mix it up with our hands. We want to really get in deep with it. And again, the broth can be hot or cold. It doesn't matter, does it? Do you want to help me with this?
Okay.
Want to put your hands in there? We have washed our hands.
What?
No, you don't like that, huh? And we keep soaking the bread till it gets wet. And a little bit more, probably one more time, please.
Where am I going?
We are making stuffing. Now, see, you can notice that the bread is starting to get wet, and that's the consistency. We don't want it too wet, but I would say we want it wet like a ball. You can make a ball like this. That's a good way to know that the stuffing is ready, the bread is ready with the liquid.
Next step is to saute the vegetables, which is celery and onions. So in separate fry pans, we put about a tablespoon of butter and melt it, and then add the celery to one, onions to the other. The reason we do them separately is they take a little different time. The onions are gonna saute a little quicker. We just want to get them translucent, and then the celery takes a little longer. It's gonna cook again in the when you bake it, but you want to get them sauteed. The next step is the pork sausage, 2 pounds of breakfast sausage. We have to fry that until it's fully cooked. Just continually turn it and stir and break it up into crumbles. You'll see as it gets done.
Okay, now we've sauteed the onions, the celery, the pork sausage. We've melted the butter. We've cut the bread up. I like to make a well in the bread, and then I add, doesn't matter, onions or celery, doesn't matter. And then we add the onions. usually the onions and the celery.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah,
you can
stir up.
stir. The onions and celery are hot, so I like to use a big spoon, but sometimes if they're not hot because they've been waiting for the pork sausage to cook, I will also use my hands. And now we add the pork sausage, the breakfast pork sausage, crumbled up in small pieces, and we add that to the bread, toasted bread, onions, and celery mixture. And make sure you get the grease because that's the flavor.
Next, we add the seasoning, a little garlic powder, salt, fresh ground pepper, and then our poultry seasoning, which we distribute throughout and keep stirring as we go.
Last step, melted butter, 1 stick, very important. You pour that into the mixture, stirring as you do it. Two-person thing.
Helps keep it moist.
Helps keep it moist, yes. And there we have it. Now it's ready to go in the pan.
Now we're going to put it into the baking tin. This recipe makes about 1.5 tins of stuffing, which we normally have, 10 to 12 guests plus leftovers. Everybody likes to have some leftovers, so this is more than enough for 10 to 12, probably even up to 15 or 20 people if you ate it all on the same day. We always have leftovers. Of course, when we present it, we put it into a pretty bowl on the table, but this is just for baking purposes. I like to mash it in there real tight so that it has a firm consistency. You can see how moist it is and it'll stay moist. You can actually make this in advance. You can make it the night before and cover it with tin foil and put it in the refrigerator. So there's 1 tin, and then usually there's about enough for about a half. So I like to make sure it cooks the same when we cook it. I like to make it the same height, so I don't just put it in at half level. I fill half the tin like this, put it over to the side. So there you have it, 1.5 tins of Uncle Ram's stuffing. Ready to go. Okay, there we have it. 1.5 pans of Uncle Ram's stuffing. The bake is 350 degrees for 1 hour uncovered, and you'll have perfect, moist, tasty stuffing. Everyone will love it. If you like this recipe, please comment below. We have 2 other videos out there, one on perfect mashed potatoes and perfect gravy every time. So if you're interested, look those up and let us know what you think. So from me and Chef Penelope and Karen, we'd like to say Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.